is this thing?
So you think you have seen it all, eh? But have you? Really? In the age of crossbreeding experiments, there are some freaky monsters that lurk around the corner. And just as you convince yourself that they're all just a crazy myth, you'll see them scurrying around. Ever seen something that makes your eyes go wide? For instance, here is a tick that will make you tingle in the wrong ways. It was found near a pond by an American camper. If its large size is not enough to make you cringe, it had the face of a human child. The being itself was just eerie. How can someone even imagine such a thing? It is okay to test on animals as far as medical purposes are concerned, but to go beyond that and create such an abomination in a lab is downright crazy.
What the f*** is this thing?
Who could even think of crossbreeding a dog and a crocodile? But evidently some unknown scientists did. Found by a resident of Louisiana in his backyard a month ago. This creature had the body of a dog, but the snout of a crocodile. It had elongated claws for paws as well. Confused and scared about what it was, the resident uploaded the video on social media. Apparently, it is a common sighting in South Africa, and they call it a dogodile. Was it the result of crossbreeding or a science experiment? Netizens are still scratching their heads over it.
What the f***? That looks like a f***ing dog.
Pig with face. In 2020, a villager in the Dominican Republic witnessed a horrific sight in his barn. One of his pigs gave birth to a piglet whose facial features resembled a human being's. The villager was extremely upset about the incident. He blamed the doctor who administered a series of fertility injections to his pig. The doctor either had made a mistake or had a sick sense of humor if he intentionally provided genetic mutation injections to the animal. Whatever the case may be, this abomination was created through the irresponsible use of science. Cyclopic cat. Sometimes you see something online that really breaks your heart. As is the case with this poor kitty, it was born disfigured with one eye that might or might not have been working. The kitten was vulnerable and flinched at the tiniest of noises. The owner took good care of it, but animals born with Cyclopia have a short lifespan. Was it a natural disorder, or was it caused by medicine taken by its mother? We will never know, as the scientists who tested on the cat did not share their findings. Kaiju skin mite. If you thought that the kaiju parasite from Pacific Rim only existed in movies, think again. A scientist exploring a remote island found this creepy creature. The location was near a nuclear testing site. The resulting radiation affected the ecosystem, and this is what we got. A kaiju skin mite. Its face looked similar to that of a spider, and its body might have very been an armored tank. Its wriggly feet were its creepiest feature. Imagine this mite crawling on your skin. Gives you extreme jeepers, doesn't it? Check Conky.
0132, appelez massivement, c'est encore là.
Two friends in Kenya found a chicken that was just unbelievable. It had the face of a monkey and the body of a chicken. Once the video was uploaded on social media, the netizens lost their minds, and the internet went buzzing with wild theories. It is neither a mutation nor a result of crossbreeding.
Si tu veux prendre photo avec ça, voici le poulet qu'elle a.
It was definitely made through artificial genetic modification, and the people can't wait to find out the scientist who did this, because he's probably working on something crazier.
Le poulet qui a visage de singe, c'est pas mensonge, c'est réel.
Cyclopic. A pig in Portugal gave birth to a litter last month. Its owner was happy, at least until he found that one of the piglets had one eye. Shocked and shaken, he uploaded the video on social media. Netizens had various theories. Some called it a sign from God. Others declared it the mischief of a scientist. Some even blamed the farmer for experimenting on his pigs. However, the truth was finally found. The piglet had Cyclopia. It is a genetic disease that affects 1 in 100,000 births in all animals. The affected offspring is born with one eye and has a very short lifespan. Bat dog. A resident in Montana got disturbed by a dog barking outside his house. He went out to check, but it wasn't just any dog that stood there. It seemed deformed. It ran around difficulty as well, but if you observe closely, its ears, snout, and overall body shape looked exactly like a bat. Imagine that. How did the scientists even achieve this? But they did. Looks like they introduced bat DNA into this dog, and then abandoned it later when they couldn't figure out how to take care of it. Werewolf Cub. You have got to be kidding me. This is surely a hoax or a prank or made-up dummy, but unfortunately it isn't. The baby was born to actual humans, but it is already a werewolf without even being bitten by one. It was fat, with whiskers and claws. Even the people around were surprised and wanted to take a look. How do you even explain this? It is horrifyingly impossible to even imagine how this child was born like this. Space pest. It might very well be an alien pest, but unfortunately it isn't. It looks like a cross between an ugly caterpillar and an even uglier fish with hideous scales. It was found by a couple of tourists in Pacific Grove, California. Once they uploaded the video on social media, netizens were confused and shocked at this horrific-looking creature. However, a wise fella pointed out that it was a bristle worm and is commonly found in that area. But be warned, it is as dangerous as it looks. Its skin is poisonous, and the best case scenario is that your hands will itch for a few days if you touch it. Don't even ask me about the worst case scenario. Herbivore Dog. In 2023, when a man was walking by a Texan ranch, this wasn't what he was expecting to see. It was a horse, all right, or maybe a pony given its size. But it had the head of a dog. Everything was fine in its world. But was it produced through crossbreeding or direct genetic mutation? We can safely cross out the possibility of a crossbreed, as dogs and horses aren't compatible at all. This thing could only have been made through artificial genetic mutation. Sleeping beast. Do you believe in spirit animals? A nagual is a guardian spirit or protective alter ego that some Middle American Indians believe resides in an animal. They also believe that the first creature to cross over the ashes spread before a newborn baby becomes that child's nagual. But looks like a scientist did not know about this and tried to create one in a lab. The result was this: a creature that has blurred the lines between human and beast. It had the face of a human and the body of an unknown animal. This is definitely not the kind of spirit animal that you should seek. Moose seal. When a group of Hawaiian fishermen found a seal washed offshore, this was the last thing on their mind. The seal had the head of a cow, and with horns too. The fishermen were perplexed and could only watch in awe. No one had any idea how such a creature could even exist. We can rule out mutation, as that would have only deformed its features. So such a thing could, with a head from a completely different species, can only be created in a lab by some high IQ scientists with twisted minds. Maybe an embryologist will have an answer about the source of its creation. Holy cow. Cows are considered holy in India, but the birth of a two-headed calf in one of their villages sent the residents into a frenzy. It had 3 eyes, 2 mouths, and 2 sets of nostrils. The villagers considered it as a sign from God, but it looked like it was another case of a doctor giving experimental medicine to the mother of the offspring. It could have been a natural mutation too, but it became impossible to gather further information about the calf once the villagers stopped scientists from checking up on the unique animal. They just wanted to continue believing that it was a sign from God. Heads akimbo. A soldier was walking through a secret ex-weapons testing ground. What he found in a pond there is stuff of nightmares. It was a two-headed tortoise with 6 legs. Its shell might very well have belonged to a tiny Godzilla. It was scary and unnatural. Its mutation was clearly a result of chemical contamination of the waters around the testing area. It might even be in pain, but we can never know, as animals cannot speak. Whatever human beings are doing is resulting in catastrophic results for the ecosystem, and we have got to learn to love our planet and the animals living on it, so that we stop this affecting the environment. Craven. Who even comes up with these insane crossbreeding ideas? A farmer in California woke up to a strange sight in his garden. A chicken was picking at his fruits. But guess what? It had the legs of a crab. And it seemed perfectly adept at using them. Looks like it escaped from the nearest animal testing facility. And there is not even a ghost of a chance that it was a mutation or a birth defect. Some mad scientist had played a tasteless prank. Cyclops. 13 years ago, a fisherman caught a strange fish off the coast of Mexico. It was a shark, but it had only one eye. It was deformed as well. Scientists blamed water pollution for it, but they didn't say it was other scientists who caused the pollution. Wastes from human-made factories are contaminating the seas, which is affecting marine life, both directly and indirectly. These materials enter fish through their gills and change their internal structures. The result is the weakness of their genes and defective births. And calflops. A Cyclops cow with one eye and without a nose was born in a remote farming village in Quezon Province, the Philippines. The calf, named One Eye by locals, was born on May 28, 2020, to a healthy mother. Residents are confused why it had acquired the condition. However, it is clear as day that the mother was affected by medicines provided by the local vet. After years of using medicine, human beings are realizing the negative effects of chemicals used in our food and medicine. If this continues, no one knows what kind of monsters will be born in the future. Chicken Little.
She's like, what the?
When scientists speak about increasing the amount of meat in a chicken, this isn't what they mean. A Michigan family woke up to a surprising scene in their backyard in 2020. One of their chickens had sprouted human arms overnight. Even the dogs and the other chicken went into a frenzy seeing this astounding spectacle. They all tried to help the affected chicken, but it was the most shocked of the lot and was running helter-skelter in terror itself. Looks like there was some mix-up at the embryology lab. Not only had the chicken gained meat at the wrong places, but of the wrong kind as well. These mad scientists need to stop pulling off such experiments.
I can't.
Dog on 2. It looks like a dog, but is it? Its front legs were placed wide like a fitness trainer. Did it get some steroids by mistake? The owner of this dog was alarmed as well once the dog began to show signs of bodybuilding. It didn't happen overnight, but developed gradually in 4 weeks after the last visit to the vet. Looks like the doctor added some growth hormones into the dog's medicine. Whether intentionally or by accident, he should expect a really angry dog owner on the next visit. Monkastic. Put your seats back into their upright position, because this is gonna be monkastic. After years of trial and error, scientists in America finally made an absolutely stupefying breakthrough. 23 years ago, they succeeded in breeding a monkey that could talk, but it didn't just say random words. It discussed philosophy as if it was Aristotle himself. It dressed like a human, wore glasses like a human, read books like a human, and gained knowledge better than the average human too. And it didn't seem happy with the way the human beings treated it too. Planet of the Apes could become a reality, guys. Oliver the Human Z. Born in 1957, Oliver the Human Z was an American circus chimp that exhibited characteristics of a human being. It walked upright on two legs, had a face and bald head similar to humans. People at that time dubbed it a Human Z, a missing link between human beings and chimpanzees. Others called it a hybrid between a human and a chimpanzee. After its demise in 2012, scientists tested its DNA and claimed its DNA was normal. But was it? What if the scientists were covering their tracks and Oliver was actually a hybrid? No one can tell for sure. Dog freak. You will probably go into shock once you see this. It is a leaked video from an animal testing lab somewhere in Indiana. It shows a creature that has the body of a dog, but the head of a human being. It has long hair, and it could even speak English words too. This animal testing thing is getting out of hand. These procedures were allowed only for the sake of testing medicines by pharmaceutical companies. But looks like they aren't stopping there at that line now. Now I understand why activists march against animal testing. They probably knew what it was going to result in. Maltese Pigeons. Once in a while you see a bird that forces you to do a double take. But what are these? With heads and upper bodies like a pigeon and lower bodies like a chicken, you would think this is an AI-generated video, but it isn't. These are Maltese pigeons. They were derived by a cross between a French Baghdad pigeon and a German pigeon, so if you ever counter a person on social media claiming that they have crossbred pigeons and chickens to create these, don't be fooled. You can actually buy these birds, and they are extremely tameable pets. Jeep. It's a sheep. It's a goat. It's a Jeep? A Texan sheep. Herding family got a pleasant surprise when one of their sheeps gave birth to a cute-looking hybrid sheep. It had the fur of a sheep, but it wasn't completely white. It had dark spots, just like a goat would have. The fluffy animal was born 10 years ago and must be fully grown now. However, there is yet no explanation to how it happened. Did the family crossbreed a sheep with a goat? Or was it just a normal genetic mutation? Whatever it was a scientific marvel. Putty-faced turtle. The seas of the world are full of undiscovered creatures, but some creatures are better left unrevealed. Just 6 months ago, tourists to Plum Island made a shocking discovery. An eerie creature appeared from under the water. At first they thought it was some kind of an eel, but then they realized its neck was coming out of a shell. It looked like a soft shell turtle, but different. For starters, it was absolutely white in color, and its face looked almost human-like, and as if someone had made it out of putty. The tourists were confused, so they called the marine authorities who took it away, and nothing has been heard of the putty-faced turtle after that. Faceless toad.
Still alive.
Wouldn't you say Hawaii is the best spot for some scientific mischief? Just throw some gene-mutating enzymes into the air and get out. Whether you agree or not, some scientists did do something froggy in the islands. A couple of siblings exploring the islands in 2011 found an unusual toad. It had no head at all, just a wide-open mouth in its place.
Maybe the bugs just land in its mouth and it swallows them.
Netizens were shocked and wondered how did this toad even hunt for flies. Some said it was a natural mutation, but it does not look like it. The toad was clearly affected by external sources to morph into such a pitiable form, and we know who it was.
It's pretty gross, huh?
Frog Band. When friends just cannot be separated, as is the case with these three frogs, or is it? But this was actually just one frog, found in the United Kingdom in 2004. This particular frog had 3 heads and 6 legs. Experts were baffled about how this frog functioned in its daily life. Did it use all 3 mouths to eat? Did it have 3 stomachs too? Did all the 3 brains think the same thing at the same time? Scientists had no answer, but there it was. Whether a marvel of nature or a scientific mistake, these 3 were inseparable. Doglops. A dog owner in California had a happy and sad day last August. He was happy because a litter was born to him, and he was sad because one of the puppies was quite deformed. It had 2 tongues coming out of its mouth, and it had 1 eye that also did not seem to be working. It also whimpered in a way that will break your heart. Ever since industrial-grade animal food has been introduced, genetic deformity in puppies and kittens have increased, and then scientists come up with statistics to cover their mistakes. The Bakano. The Bakano is a mythical cat from Japanese folklore, or so people think. In the 18th century, a Bakano tormented the royal family of Nabeshima Mitsushige for mistreating its masters. It is believed that the Bakano transforms from any ordinary cat once certain conditions are met. It grows in size, sprouts out horns, and becomes a majestic animal. Normally, it is a mischievous cat, but is friendly to those who treat it well. Moral of the story is, treat your pets well, so that if anyone mistreats you, your pet will defend you. Goat blob. The Philippines has witnessed the birth of quite a few weird creatures in recent years. There was another one in 2018. A goat gave birth to a couple of kids. Most of them were okay, but among them, one was this. It looked like a blob and resembled a pig more than a goat. The owners were perplexed and amazed. They did not know how this came to be. But if there was a veterinary doctor involved, it meant some medicines were used, and said medicines might have led to creation of this being. Caterhead. Boy, oh boy, look what have we got here. It is a caterpillar, all right, but to have a face like a human being, it had distinct eyes and lips, and had even gotten a small beard. It was accidentally discovered in China by a couple of friends exploring a rural area. The caterpillar was looking at the camera annoyingly. It means it was aware of its surroundings like any intelligent being. What if some mad scientist added parts of a human brain to a caterpillar, and this was the result? The evidence does not point to anything else. Spiderhead. A woman in Japan was coming back home when she found this thing staring at her. It was a spider hanging on the door, but it had a human face. The woman pinched herself first to check if she was dreaming, and then ran screaming away, alerting the neighbors. The face on that spider looked straight out of a low-budget horror movie, but it was completely real. Looks like a sick joke by a mad scientist, or maybe just a failed test before creating a real monster. Wrong ears. Now this is sick, and proof of what scientists can do with the right knowledge. Neil deGrasse Tyson visited an animal testing lab. And what were they doing there? Growing human ears on the backs of mice. It is both amazing and frightening what scientists can achieve in a lab. If they can make human body parts grow on mice, what can stop them from growing tails on human bodies? Or elephant trunks on cats? Or spider legs on a dog? The possibilities are endless. The video was made 12 years ago. Imagine how advanced scientists would have become since then. Snake Man. Some things are better left unexplained. But what to do if it is staring right at you? And this leaked video from a secret lab is impossible to ignore. The scientists there were working on a bizarre experiment. They were trying to grow snake skin on a human being, and looks like they succeeded too. But the worst part is that the man had also begun to show characteristics of a snake. He was beginning to move like one too. It is hard to decide who is spookier, the snake man or the scientist who did this to him. Winged cat.
Yep. There's the cat with wings.
Have you ever heard of the mythical winged cat? Oh well, they are not that mythical anymore. A man was passing by in a park in Vermont when he found this peculiar shaggy cat. It was a family's pet, who seemed very fond of it too. It had wings on its back like a pigeon. According to the family, the cat was born with these wings. And when it runs, the wings flap as if it is trying to fly. Was it a natural mutation, or was it because of medicine taken by the cat's mother before giving birth? We will never know, as the family just didn't want to investigate. Trunkman. You will question everything in your life after you see this. This odd little blob with its bizarre collection of limbs would have been cute if it had not been a mistake that brought it into being. Add to it the fact that it has an elephant trunk makes things even worse. What were they thinking, and what did they want to make? Wrong question, maybe. Were they even thinking at all when they decided to do an experiment like this? Probably not. Freaky eyes. This is not for the faint-hearted. This is the sum of all of our fears. This is neither an alien nor a scene from a horror movie. This is a spider hybrid that was experimented upon to develop gruesome features. It had at least half a dozen eyes, and had the ability to hide its eyes behind its skin. And here comes the drumroll part. It can move any of its eyes all around its head, as if it was a moon revolving around a planet. If scientists can manage to create such functions, imagine the worst. If they manage to increase its size and let it run amok, our cities will become horror movies in real. Duende. When a dog brought back a gift for its owner, it probably didn't realize that it wasn't a doll. The Texan owner was freaked out at its sight. It was a skeleton, but its size was small. It looked like the skeleton of a dwarf. Things took a turn for the worst when the owner uploaded the video on social media. He was told by netizens that it could very well be a duende. These creatures have a history in Spanish folklore, but it looks like the myths were not false, and these peculiar dwarves could be living somewhere out of sight. Ugly spikes. In 1953, a mysterious creature washed ashore on Canvey Island, England. It was 2 feet long, with thick reddish-brown skin. It had large, bulging eyes and gills, but its most distinguishing feature were its teeth, which actually looked like long spikes. Some theorized that it was a kind of anglerfish, but others rejected this and said it was actually a marine alien that could not reach the water after coming to Earth. But considering that it resembled anglerfish, it can very well be the result of a failed mutation experiment. Liger. The biggest cat in the world is actually a hybrid. It is born when a tigress falls for a lion. However, it never happens naturally. Ligers can be bred only in captivity, and the result is this: 1,000 kilograms of a huge, tall cat that outgrows both its parents in size. This could be the best crossbreeding experiment that crossed a human being's mind, because this cat is majestic. As these beasts are bred in zoos, they are domesticated, and you will never see one chasing you down the street. So it will be okay if you try to feed one some milk. Cool cat, eh? Zonky. We got ourselves a zonky, guys. This is actually one of 2 zonkies in the whole of Britain. It is a cross between a donkey and a zebra. Zippy, an ultra-rare zebra-donkey crossbreed, was born on October 2nd on a farm in South Barrow, Somerset. His mother Ziggy, a 6-year-old zebra, was bought for £10,000 from Germany and shares the fields with 9 donkeys. Maybe it was not supposed to happen, but hey, Zippy is healthy and happy. We shouldn't be one to criticize. Dogzime. In a bizarre incident in Brazil, a driver bumped his car with a dog on the highway. He took the animal to the nearest veterinary clinic, but the clinic staff concluded that it was not a dog. It did bark like a dog, but the rest of its body was like a fox. Further tests revealed that it was a dog-fox hybrid. It was born in the wild, and it is the first confirmed cross between a dog and a fox. Scientists previously believed that such a cross was not possible, but here we are, looking at Dogzime, the first and only of its kind. Open discussion. Citizens in a city were shocked when they saw an unknown creature walking in their midst. It had the head of a human being, but it was walking on all 4s like a horse. It was a creepy sight. But then it was revealed that the creature was actually a human being. She was suffering from a condition called genu recurvatum, or knee hyperextension. Because the knees are bent backwards, the patient has no choice but to walk in this manner. So if you ever see such a sight in public, do not freak out and just be nice. Thank you very much for watching the video. Do like and share it with your friends. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to not miss any of the upcoming amazing videos. Thank you once again.